Hello and welcome to yet another devlog episode on my channel. Grab something to drink and let's get started. In this video I will mainly focus on my progress implementing the new feature I want to add to the game. This feature basically allows you to gather resources, as currently there's no way for it. Because I had a lot of ideas of how to implement this feature, and because I know that I always manage to overscope, I actually decided to write down all the ideas I had or got from my friends, and that way I could filter the ones I really want to add to the game and the ones that I can postpone and maybe even cancel. So yeah, this new feature is basically you going into a mine and searching for raw materials, which then you can convert into resources that you can later use to craft your weapons in your shop and satisfy the needs of all the customers. And after I have written down all the ideas I had in mind, I went and made a Trello list with the most important features that I want to implement as soon as possible. As for the first step, I was searching for some kind of tile set that resembled a mine. Although I found many nice assets, most of them were paid and I didn't really want to pay for anything currently because it was just a prototype and I didn't even know if I will stick with it, so yeah. But in the end I actually managed to find something really nice and I decided to stick with that. After I had decided what sprites to use, I had to import them into my project and make a tile palette using these. The only issue was that the sprites weren't scaled correctly, so I had to modify them and also split them with Unity's help, but I still had some issues with the tile sizes because these images weren't made with the same size. After a few cutting and modeling of the objects, I ended up with a pretty decent tile palette, but this is what happened when I started creating my map. The background didn't really fit with the foreground and the patterns were obvious, and this is when I realized that the sprites I've been using weren't made for tile sets, so I had to start searching for new sprites again and start over. And that is when I was like, yeah, it would probably be best if I make myself my own tile set and not rely on others. Oh, how wrong I was. I can't even make my own thumbnails and I want to make a whole tile set for myself. Brilliant. But nonetheless, I had to waste some time with this by watching some videos from Brackeys and using his template tile set to make my own. And after probably, I don't know, 1 hour of work time, this is what I came up with. I should really stop trying to make pixel art and art in general. Ugh. And this is how I managed to waste about 1 day on figuring out what tile set to use in my mine, even if I was making a prototype. In the end, I just ended up downloading a random tile set that was free to use from Game Art Online and went with it. But yeah, having the right tile set helps a lot, and I managed to come up with an arbitrary looking mine quite fast with no issues whatsoever. I actually think in the end it turned out nicely, although the amount of time I spent on it, it should have been epic. With the background scene done, I added a small rock that will be mined, and I also added my trusted little blob to help me mine it, and then I wanted to get to the scripting part. That is when I realized that with my current code it would be quite difficult to re-implement the character movement on my miner, and I had to refactor everything. Well, not everything, but the movement part of my characters. I think you already see a pattern in my development style. Just create something, then try to reuse it, realize you cannot, and then refactor. Rinse and repeat. But to my surprise, the refactoring went smoothly, and in about 1 or 2 hours I managed to fix all the issues I had, and I even improved the code a bunch. With the map and the movement of the character done, I wanted to make a very basic random generation of the world so that I would actually have multiple rocks to hit and to mine. With the basic map generation done, I actually found an issue with my character's movement, because whenever you clicked on a rock that was inaccessible, my character actually started moving towards it even though he could not ever reach it. But using my super awesome math skills, I managed to figure out how to detect if the character could or could not reach an object, and with the final code looking like this, I actually managed to implement this movement restricting feature. But not before having some issues with comparing two floating numbers. There were instances when I compared two numbers that were the same, but the computer still thought they were different. Luckily, I didn't spend too much time on this, and using the approximately function, I managed to fix all these issues. And just like that, I finished with some character specific movements, and now my character moved exactly where I wanted it to move, and whenever you clicked on an object that wasn't in range or wasn't accessible, my character would just stop. What I needed to do is whenever he reached his destination, basically the rock you clicked on, it should be mined, and initially I just wanted to hide the object or destroy the object that was clicked on arrival, signaling the mining event. I implemented that in such a way that whenever the character reached the rock would destroy itself. I also noticed a minor issue where if you clicked on a different rock at a specific time, then a different rock would get mined instead of the correct one. This, on the other hand, I find a very minor issue and very specific, and I decided to just put it on a bugs list and turn back to it later on in the development. And that pretty much sums up all my progress of the last week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, maybe even comment. Don't forget to check out my Instagram. Take care and bye bye.